What's it been like? How would you assess it? And everybody we talk to says depth, and you have more of it.
We have a lot of depth. We have a lot of depth, and now it's a matter of, and we've put a lot of defense in, like a lot of defense. So guys are still not playing as fast as they're going to play, but we'll start toning it down and game planning it and all that stuff. But we do have a lot of good players.
What can you? Obviously, it's pretty obvious, I think, but you can do more with more depth. But
yes.
You can put more in. You've got more experience too.
Well, first, the reality is okay. Without depth, it shows up at the end of the season, right? It kind of showed up to me in the middle of our defense last year with the linebackers and the safeties. Okay, but the second way it shows up is if you're going to really win the championship, like Alabama all those years, then you're going to have your best players in special teams, your best players. So I witnessed that playing against them multiple times. So that's a couple ways that the depth shows up.
Are you going to do that this year?
Do what?
Best players on special?
I hope so. I don't make those calls. But I really do hope we do, because you get an edge. You know what I'm saying? There's a such thing as field position. It affects games. So I imagine Coach will allow us to do that.
Do you think you guys started strong, didn't finish great against Kentucky and Southern Cal? Were injuries or worn down, or what do you think?
I felt coaching was a part of it. I felt, I would say this. I don't think we coached our best game against Kentucky or Southern Cal. No, I think we played well for a half, and then I think we kind of got rattled around. The kickoff return hurt us a little bit, and we didn't really choke them out as well as we had. So I think we could coach better, to be honest.
Brom also mentions that coaching did play a part in that kind of 3-game slide in the season. What kind of lessons did you guys, as a coaching staff, kind of draw from that end of the season?
You got to continue to evolve. You know, when they have that much data, when the opponents have that much data against you, you must continue to evolve. I really felt like, Kentucky, we made some mental errors in the game, but I felt like SC, we didn't have enough bullets. I didn't coach as well as I needed to. I didn't put the players in the positions they needed to be in, and that was the facts.
Do you think the depth is in a position where you can be able to withstand some of those late season injuries and nicks and bruises and all that?
Well, I think we'll be fine that way. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about putting a scheme together where they're still off balance. It's most of the year they were.
Have you done anything in the offseason to improve yourself as a coach? Anything out of the ordinary?
I've visited a lot of people.
Really?
Visited a lot
Where'd
of
you
people.
go?
I went to see Phil Snow, who's coordinator at Carolina for a few years there. I went to Navy and clinic with those guys who were excellent on defense. Visited those guys there. So I just went around. You know, if you can get one or two things, it's good for you.
As you wait for the guys to play faster, what are they showing now that you like in terms of practicing?
Their aptitude has been awesome. I mean, we got a lot of defense in, as much as anywhere I've been, and we're still going to put a few more things in. Their aptitude has been really, really good in terms of understanding what we're asking them to do and doing it.
Ron, when you look at depth and you talk about it in the secondary, that's going to help, is it not? Last year there were times when it seemed like guys were maybe out there a little too long. You didn't have the rest. Is that different this year?
I'll give an example. We play Miami. Jarvis goes out. Now we don't have a true nickel. They got that number 7. And, we really couldn't match up with that number 7 when we wanted to play some man stuff and stuff like that. So just rolling guys. And then, the other thing we still do is we cross-train guys. So if this guy goes down, this guy goes in, this other guy goes in, and we're good to go.
Ron, how is MJ not being back?
Sometimes he plays inexperienced because, to be honest, it's a lot of football here. I mean, we pride ourselves on, this is like a pro-style system. So sometimes he's a little inexperienced in that. But what sticks out, first off, he makes plays. He's going to make plays, but he plays hard. He's trained. So, and he's got great attitude and wants to be really good. And I can coach him as hard as I want to coach him. So it's just good having him back. And again, like I mentioned before he got hurt, I thought he would be the best guy in the secondary.
This is just a matter of...
Sometimes when a guy goes down, it's the mental. He has to get over the mental hurdle. Do you feel like he's already done that?
That's to be determined. You know how it is out here. Maybe you don't make a play, and now you got to deal with a little insecurity there. You got to deal with a little self-doubt there. So we'll see what happens. But I fully expect him to do his thing.
Is it just a matter of knocking off the rust after not playing for a year?
I think so. I think that's part of it. But it's more than that. It's a lot of stuff we're doing he's never been exposed to. These other guys have. They've been here a year. Like a guy like T-Mac, who played in the Saban system. So I coached in that system, right? Well, he's been exposed to as much defense as you can run. So for him to come here is kind of not a big deal because he can connect the dots. But let's say you're a guy who hasn't been exposed to that, and now you come here, a little different.
T-Mac said he's kind of trying to become more of a leader, or has been, and he said you guys have been. What have you seen from him? And he said he's kind of adjusting a little bit to playing back a little bit more in the free safety spot. What have you seen from him?
Well, he's such a good person. The guy's a good man. He cares about the players. He cares about helping the players. He doesn't come across as arrogant or pompous or any of that. He's smart. He's been exposed to a lot of football. So I just encouraged him, even a month ago, hey, look, man, your play's going to dictate them listening to you. So just be a leader. You know how to lead. I think he's done a great job.
What's the competition in the back end like for you guys?
I got to make sure they get the reps. I'm serious. I don't say start or back. Hey, I got to make sure they get the reps. So, for example, last scrimmage, one guy got 45, the other guy got 41. I got to make sure these guys get the reps.
How many do you feel comfortable with in the safety spots?
Well, I feel comfortable with 4 corners and 6 inside guys.
4
2
and 6?
nickels. I feel good at both safeties position, 2 deep, and the star 2 deep. And the corners are legit 2 deep. Like where you're saying, I got to give these guys reps.
How different is that from if we would have been talking to you this time last year?
Well, you know, that wasn't like that. Now, I will say this. The last time I had this much depth was Michigan.
Michigan? Which year was that?
03. 03, we played 8 DB, so game against Purdue, and 8 legitimate guys.
Are your linebackers, maybe, that was I think people thought, okay, how are they going to be so far in fall camp? Are they a little better than maybe even you all?
Same thing a year ago, right? We didn't know what we had. We know what we have at the wheel with TJ. I do like the guys we brought in. Stan Kwan's continuing to grow. TJ Capers is doing great. He's doing great. And I'm happy for him. I'm so happy for him. He could have folded up, but he didn't. So we still got to keep growing. Still got to keep getting better.
What about across the line?
I like the D-line. I like the D-line. They're deep, and I mean, my gosh. We got a couple pieces here that is I like the D-line. They're deep. We have some edge rushers, you know, to complement Gelati. D-line is deep. They're deep.
I have to ask, now you say that TJ Capers is doing great. What is he doing now that he wasn't doing when you mentioned at the beginning of spring ball that kind of drew some iron?
Yes.
First off, we asked the guy to go, you have a certain weight. He was going opposite the weight we told him. So that's big for us, right? So it kind of starts there. It's like, okay, we told you to do this. Why are you not doing this? It's kind of like a kid, okay? Do A, then do B, then do C. But if you can't do A, it's going to be hard to do B. But he loves football. He is explosive. He is smart. And he's gained the weight we wanted him. He's where we want him to be weight-wise. So I'm just happy for him. And I wanted to say that because people perceived it as I was attacking TJ Capers. I was not attacking TJ Capers. I was just stating the facts. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.